As a thank you for hitting 50 subscribers, I'm going to quickly run through my current football boot collection. Not long ago, I basically went through a massive clear out of my football boots, and I was kind of in the situation where I was buying boots, they either didn't fit me properly or I just wasn't a fan, and I ended up, selling them. But now the boots that I have in my collection, I can basically blind pick them and I'll be okay with what I pick if I was to go into a game or a training session, for example. So yeah, let's get into it. The first boot in the collection is my crown jewel. This is probably the boot that I wouldn't sell or would be the last to sell, basically. So this is the Mizuno Wave Cup Legends, and yeah, this is a grail boot of mine. Initially, I wanted the Wave Cup SS, which is the white version. The only reason why I wanted the white version because that one was the most recent one, whereas this one came out in 2020, for example. And I thought I'd never find a pair here in the UK brand new for the price that I did. So I've worn it a few times, but it's one of those where I kind of wanted to keep it in this really good condition and use it more as a shelf piece. But I have tried it, I have used it, and to be fair, it is one of the best boots I've ever worn. You're gonna see a clear pattern in my collection in terms of the brand of the boots, because Mizuno does dominate my collection. So the next up is the Mizuno Morelia 2 Ultralight Limited Edition. This is a beautiful boot and even better to play in. The K leather is really soft, even though it's really thin because it is ultralight. Has the standard Morelia 2 sole plate, and yeah, I'm just not a fan of the heel, how low the heel is. Although it is suede on the inside, but I'm not a fan of the low heel. That's why these don't really get as much use as they should and as they deserve, but just because of that heel area. But other than that, another phenomenal boot. Next up is a boot that I'm yet to try out, and this is the Mizuno Rebula 3, again made in Japan. Yeah, again, this is another boot that came out a very long time ago, a boot that I did have my eyes on, but that it would be pretty difficult to find. I think this came out about 7 years ago. It is in soft ground, which is why I haven't tried them yet, because right now it's not soft ground season. Feeling the leather on these, if I'm being honest, it is probably one of the softest leathers I have in my collection. Even though my collection is full of Mizuno boots, for some reason the softness of the leather on the Rebula is crazy. Thinking of getting some plastic studs to screw out the metal ones and replace it with plastic that I can wear on firm ground or artificial grass. But yeah, this is a boot that I am really excited to wear, when it does get muddy out there. This is the Mizuno Monoceeda Neo 3 Elite, and this is probably one of my go-tos. If I was to play on grass tomorrow, this would be probably it. It has my favorite sole plate from the Morelia Neo, and nice soft upper as well, and it's kind of like a wider version of a standard Morelia Neo. I have had a Morelia Neo in the past. I had the Morelia Neo 3, and it was a good boot for me, but it was a bit tighter on the middle of the boot. But this one for some reason just feels a lot lighter. For example, I could have easily gone down half a size in these. I went true to size. In all my Mizuno boots, I went true to size. But in a lot of them, I felt like I could have gone away with half a size down. They would feel a bit tighter. But for some reason with these ones, I know I could have went half a size down and it would feel fantastic. But yeah, this is a boot that I do need to pick up a new pair, because this one is kind of worn, but still phenomenal boot. Next up is probably one of my favorite in my collection. This is the Mizuno Morelia Proto in AG, artificial grass. This is from the Innovation Pack. So essentially this boot is kind of a mashup of a lot of boots. It kind of has aspects of the Wave Cup, of the Rebula as well, and it was kind of this cool concept that Mizuno did. This is a boot that was insanely hard for me to get a hold of, honestly, because when it first came out, I wasn't really on the Mizuno wave. I wasn't really into Mizuno boots because I've never tried it. Pulled out on ProDirect, and I managed to find these in a size 9 because they randomly restocked it. All of the sizes were sold out, but then for some reason a size 9 popped up, and it was one of those where I could not miss out on it, so I just had to buy it. And yeah, in terms of actual feel on my foot, this is probably my favorite. The AG plate is good, but I do have something better in my collection that we'll get to soon. But yeah, this is top football boot. The last Mizuno boot in my collection is a standard pair of Morelia 2s. This is the Mizuno Morelia 2 Elite in the 40th anniversary Ruby Red pack. This is, you know, for the price is crazy because it does feel like a made in Japan Mizuno. The only difference is I can see a bit of durability, although it hasn't separated because I've only worn these on natural grass. But you know, I can see that a bit of the glue is starting to come off as well. And you know, yeah, other than that, it does feel like a made in Japan Mizuno, I'll be real. The leather is soft, but not as soft. But someone who's never held made in Japan Mizuno before, they'll think, oh my gosh, this is so soft. Next up is Sokito. I did have a regular pair of Scudettas. I had like the Brazil colorway. I bought those and I went half a size up and they were so tight. Usually I wear a 9, but I went with a 9.5 in the Scudetta. So tight, I should have went a full size up. And with these ones, I went a full size up, but I should have gone half a size up because they kind of changed, and you know, and the BioTouch is a bit different to the regular Scudetta. But you know, although I went a full size up, they still fit good, you know. But that half a size down would have given me that even tighter fit. But it's not the end of the world. But I did mention about a sole plate earlier, and I'm talking about this one. This is probably the best AG sole plate I've ever tried, and yeah, insanely stiff, nice low. You feel like this is just, it's hard to describe it. You know, I would definitely be picking up another pair of Sokitos, whether that's the regular Scudetta or another BioTouch in AG, because I'm someone who, even when I play on natural dry grass pitches, I do like to wear AG boots. And yeah, Scudetta is phenomenal. And you know, if you have the opportunity to try it, I highly recommend. Next is the Asics or A6 DS Lite X-Fly 5. This is a boot that I got for an absolute bargain. I was just scrolling on Vinted and somebody had them listed for £20. I said, let me buy that. Bought it straight away. The listing wasn't even on Vinted for 10 minutes. I bought it straight away. Phenomenal boot. Although I did go half a size down because that was the size that the person was selling it. It is a bit tight, but I can get away with it. If I would have went true to size, or if they had a true to size for me, a size 9, it would have been probably my go-to. Suede lining, super nice heel area, nice sole plate, and this is K-leather actually. The new A6 DS Lite X-Fly 5s, or the new A6 boots in general, they no longer have natural kangaroo leather. They have something with silky wrap, which is like a synthetic leather basically. But this boot is phenomenal. A lot of my boot friends have said that this is, you know, probably one of their favorites and one of their go-tos, and I see why. Phenomenal boot. Next is actually a turf shoe. So, you know, this is called the TLSS Tactician, which is basically a Chinese brand. You know, China is really, they're getting up there within the boot game. So this is a kangaroo leather forefoot, carbon fiber in the sole. You know, this is actually a phenomenal turf shoe. When I'm actually juggling the ball or dribbling the ball, it actually feels like I have pillows on my feet. Super comfortable as well. The inner sole is super comfortable, and just, yeah, phenomenal. Like, I actually recommend. You know, I have been trying to get some TLSS soccer cleats or football boots as well, but you know, right now it's a bit of a challenge to get them here. But these ones, again, I bought them second hand off somebody on Vinted. The sizing is also a bit tricky with this brand. I went true to size with these. It is a bit tight. I can get away with it just like the A6. If I would have went half a size up, they would have been banging. Next up is another interesting brand. So this is a brand called Kipstar. So Kipstar is a brand from a sporting goods store called Decathlon. They are somewhat new in the boot game, but like, not a lot of professional football players actually wear, you know, boots from the brand Kipstar. The most notable one being Antoine Griezmann, you know, recently signed with this brand, and is obviously the face of the brand. So this is classed as an elite football boot, but the twist is, it's not elite price. I got these for £60. You can go into a Decathlon and buy these for like £60, or sometimes if you go online, you can find them for as low as £30 on sale. Aesthetically, it's a very beautiful football boot. You know, the upper is good when you're playing with it, but my only pet peeve is that it's a very flexible sole plate. Very flexible. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of a flexible sole plate. I mean, I can deal with it, it's okay, but I prefer something a bit more stiff, you know. If you're a fan of flexible sole plates, this boot might be, you know, phenomenal for you. But for me, I'm just not the biggest fan of a flexible sole plate. Next up is my only Nike football boot. I do have a pair of indoors I'll show you next. So this is the Tiempo Ligera Pro, which is essentially a takedown level boot, but couldn't be further from the truth. This is a phenomenal football boot. Of course, the upper isn't real leather, it's something called tech leather, but this boot is banging. If you watch any review on this boot, everybody has only positives to say about it. There's a reason why people like Van Dijk wear this boot, and of course Van Dijk being an elite world-class football player, and he's wearing pro-level boots, it just shows how good this boot is. And this is another boot that is quite easy to find on sale. But yeah, really nice, versatile sole plate. Of course, it's a firm ground boot. You can wear these on AG at your own risk, but it does have a lot of conical studs, so you can get away with it in a way. Fantastic football boot. It's a boot that I do need to wear more, although I have worn it a bit. But yeah, other than that, nothing else to say. Lastly is a futsal or indoor court shoe, and this is the Tiempo Street Gato. The reason why I got this is because of the colorway. This is heavily inspired by the 2010 World Cup Nike pack. You know, I kind of use this almost as like a lifestyle trainer as well, rather than a futsal shoe, because I don't really play on indoor court or street court. I'm using these more as a lifestyle shoe. But yeah, I bought these on release day, went to the Nike store. I did see the Ligera in this colorway, but it did have the tongue, and I'm not the biggest fan of the folding tongue. Only on the Predator I can somewhat deal with it. So that was my football boot collection. You know, I wanted to celebrate hitting 50 subscribers in a special way, show you guys what, you know, what I have in my collection, what I'm looking to wear when I am making these videos for you. 50 subscribers means a lot to me. You know, it's just the start, and now we've got to reach 100, then 200, then 1,000.